Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Nice to see you guys. It's probably been a little bit of a while. I know I've been doing some videos here and there, kind of when I was feeling kind of up to it, because it's been now 2, 3 weeks since the last solar eclipse. I'm going to say it was September 21st when we had the new moon in Virgo, partial solar eclipse, and then the next day was the autumn equinox in the northern hemisphere. And that energy just like blew me away for like 2 weeks. And that first week, like I couldn't do anything but just like get in bed. So this past week has been a little bit better, like a recovery type of thing. But today was the first day I got up and I was like, oh my God, I feel good. Like I actually feel good. I haven't felt like this it's been like weeks, but I've been in this kind of solitude isolation period, which I didn't know was going to happen after I thought I finished my journey. My and I thought I was done with my ascension journey. And lo and behold, something else comes up. So it's like you're never really done. Once you make it through, you have completed your journey, you go kind of into, and maybe you won't, I don't know. Just for me, I went into this kind of solitude period, and it was kind of still a test for me, like this completion test. And that was very trying. And that finally ended. And that was about me taking control of the situation. I think in the past, probably I may have depended on other people to fix situations, like at work. When you're at work and you kind of are having a problem or something, issue with a coworker, and you kind of tell your manager, like, this is what's going on. And they can only do so much. They might speak to the coworker or whatever, but if the behavior continues, like there's going to be a certain point where you're going to have to say, like, confront that person, whatever it is, say, like, I'm not going to deal with your behavior anymore. And that's kind of what I needed to do. And the thing was, like, I really have never done that. Um, I've walked away from people, but to actually speak my truth to someone and say, I don't like your behavior and I don't want you to treat me this way or whatever it may be. So that was my like final test. Anyway, I wanted to kind of come on here to say, like, hopefully you guys know about your personal years. Um, I found that so helpful as I was going through this journey. So for those of you who are not used to um, understanding what that may be, all of us have a 9-year cycle that we go through, and it goes from year one to year nine, and then it starts over again. So, like the year that you were born would be your year one, and then the next year would be year two, so forth until you're year nine. And then the cycle would start all over again. And how you can figure that out is I'm going to link a link below where you can calculate exactly what year you're in, and it'll give you a lot of information about that. I'm in my year nine, so everything is completing for me. It goes by your birth month, your birthday, and then the current year that we're in. So for me, it would be December 6, 2025. You add up those numbers as far as numerology, it comes to an 18. And then in numerology, you always how do you say that? Confined, subtracted down to a single digit. So 18 um, would become, you add those two numbers together, so it would become a nine. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm in my year nine. So this whole thing started for me back in my year one. And it's so crazy how I look back now and I'm like, oh my goodness, like all this stuff happened, started back in 2017, and it's finishing now in 2025. Like for 9 years, I've been going through this, even though I kind of say my journey was 5 years. That was kind of like my foot journey as far as getting from where I was at that point to where I am today, as far as destination, my destiny. Back in 2017, I was still working on Wall Street, life as usual, nothing really happening. I had just got out of and it's funny because the year before was my year nine. So 2016, I just got out of a 3-year relationship, which was horrible. And that it's about endings, year nine. And so I had moved out and got my own place, and I was now starting new. And of course, number ones are about new beginnings, new things, everything new, taking a new step forward. And that's when, as I've told you before, my father in spirit, through a medium, told me that, you're going to, that I had these abilities that were already within me, passed down from my grandmother, and that I needed to bring them back because they had been suppressed because of the religion that I had been brought up in. So I went to psychic school and brought back my abilities. So I am a certified psychic. I'm also a certified medium. But that was already in me. But of course, going through that program, I became certified. When also my father, during that time, during these next 2 years or so, gave me all these instructions, had told me, as I said before, to go to the New Hampshire Maine border. Didn't know how I was going to get there. Had told me that I was going to be quitting my job. Didn't understand how I was going to do that. Um, what else? There was a bunch of things. And then my grandmother, like I kept going for more information from the same person, the same medium. And my grandmother had come through, my gifts come through her line. So my mother has the gifts even though she won't acknowledge them. And um, that all kind of happened in my year one. Year two was, in your first like 3 years are kind of, you know, relaxed and nothing too major, it builds up. So now 2020 comes, that's my year four, and that's when fours talk about our foundation, our use our home life, anything that we need for security. And that was kind of blown up for me. And that's actually when I started my journey. And that's also when the pandemic happened, so everything got blown up for everyone. Um, so now for the next 5 years, I was on this journey, and this ended. My actual physical journey to get where I am now ended the beginning of this year. But I didn't realize that I was still going to need to go through um, some additional things, in order for me to have a complete ending for this year. I also noticed that usually at the end of a year, you'll start to feel the energy of the next year coming in. So usually for me, it was around like end of November, sometimes maybe even October, whatever's supposed to happen, the energy of that next year. So for me right now, I'm in my year 9. So things are all ending for me. The energy of my year 1 is starting to happen. Like I say, there's been like this big change. I could feel the energy changing. I can feel that there's a new beginning happening. And that's what's supposed to happen as of like say January 1st, but you'll start to feel that energy of whatever that new year next year, whether it be your year 2 or your year 4, whatever may be, you'll start to feel that energy come in at the end of a year. um, the link that I'm going to put below for you guys to kind of calculate out what year you're in, that will also give you information on um, about that year. So, like I know year 5, fives are about change, right? And it'll kind of say like you're going to probably experience this, experience that. It might be about a year about relationships. It might be a year about, your self-worth. I don't know, different things for different years that you're going to be exploring. I always would write down what the upcoming year would be about. And then maybe midway through, I would go back to my notes and check them and say, did this happen? Did that happen? Did this happen? And then again, at the end of the year, follow up and say, and usually it was like, check, 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 everything that they kind of said it was going to happen, happened. And then get ready for whatever was coming in to this next year. So it's like like preparing yourself for what's coming, even though you don't know what's going to exactly happen. You kind of are prepared that I'm probably going to go through this kind of change, whatever it may be. So, but I highly recommend figuring out what your personal year is and then following that really for the rest of your life, because it's going to help you to kind of not tell you exactly what's going to happen, but it's going to give you a hint at the possibilities. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there. Happy to kind of be feeling a whole lot better. Yeah, like have no idea. It was really bad for like 2 weeks, especially that one week. Um, really draining, like heaviness, but getting back on track now. And I'll see you in the next one, okay?